here we go. All I can do is laugh right now, everybody. But welcome to our boot camp. We're proud to have you as always on today. We are right now, I've been rushing to get on this call, was so excited about it. And I guess maybe I got on the call and hit some buttons that may not have been the right buttons to hit. And anyway, so we're back on now and ready to go. And so I want to make sure before we really get started and dive into our basic trainings that we're going to be doing here, that you get a chance to send out a message to all of the people that you have within your organization and any people that want to see the type of systems that we have in our company. I strongly urge that you all get onto this call so that you can have the information that's needed to actually grow and build your big business. Build a big business. All right, and good evening to all of you all. I say good evening. I had a chance to say good morning, good afternoon. We always say that because we never know what time zone you're calling from, what country you're calling from, and we want to make sure that we address you in the right time zone or the right time of day. So again, good afternoon to all of you all, morning, afternoon, and evening. And so let's get into some of the things that we're going to talk about on this series that we're going to be doing right now. You know, I've been a part of the industry for a little over 20 years now. And I never thought I would be saying that because I had no regard for the industry. But luckily, I got involved in the industry with the right person at the right time. I didn't have to go and learn something and then relearn it, because the majority of the time, I learned from Mr. Holton Buggs, our CEO of our company, and someone that had spent many years grooming himself, learning, going through the seminars, reading the books, listening to the audios, and all the things that I've taken on in terms of duplication. I've actually taken it, and I'm actually paying it forward. You know, I get a chance to say I'm paying it forward because there are similar results that I'm having now that he's had over his career, because that's what you should do. You should be able to take the information and actually grow yourself. And once you grow yourself, then you can go and feed others and then grow others is what you should look to do. And fortunately, I have been able to go through that process and then now teach that process. And so you always want to get into a position where you teach the teachers to teach the teachers to teach the teachers. And that's when it gets good. That's when the real measurement of accomplishment take place, because it's not just you and one or two, but it's many others that will truly benefit from the efforts that you put in to yourself, and from the efforts that you've gone through in learning the information of how to grow yourself, one as a person, but grow yourself as a business person as well. You know, I tell people all the time, more than the money, the person that I became in the process is more valuable than the money. And so hopefully you all will see that the environment that's being created for you to grow and to build in is something that would actually benefit you for many years to come. Whether you're in this industry or out of this industry, you will be a better person because of the people that you are associated with now and the principles that are being taught. And one of the biggest things I can tell you, we were having a conversation with some of the executive team, and we were saying, you remember how we used to have a system that Mr. Buggs, an audio that he did called the cash cow. And some of y'all may know how to turn your network marketing business into a cash cow CD. And that was one that I can tell you, it was something that you can give a person, those 4 CDs at that time, audios, and they would listen to them, and people would play them over and over and over and over again to listen to the high quality of training that Mr. Buggs did many years ago that still stands the test of time. And that's why I can tell you right now, I keep saying, we are a principle-based organization. It means that we're not just doing things freestyle. It's something that we're doing right now with a full purpose. And that's why we also say, you hear us say these terms over and over again. With what we do, your success should never be a surprise. It should be predicted. And you're going to hear me, I'm going to continue to say that and keep dripping on you until you really get the essence of what we're saying there, because it's not just stage talk or just to sound good or put some words together and things of that nature. No, this is who we are. This is how we live. And we want to be able to give you those goods, you know, from our experience here as well. And I get a lot of people that are saying right now, you know what? Yes, that's a great tool. That's a great tool. It is a great tool, and it will always be a great tool. But we're going to give you some steps that I'm going to piggyback from some training that Mr. Buggs gave you all very most recently here. And when he was talking about the mindset portion that he did very recently. Now there are some other things that we're going to build on. You're going to see over this week, we're going to build on that training that our CEO, Mr. Holton Buggs, started. And so now we want to take that from one level to the next in order for you to have the right tools to go out there and build your organization, build your business systematically with what we're going to do. And so I'm going to bring up some of my slides here and show you, give you an idea of where we are in terms of what you should be doing to build your business, okay? To build your business. Bring this up. And I should be sharing. Let's go here. Oh boy. Let me find here the full screen I need. That's not the one. Just bear with me. I'm going to get your slides up. Hopefully this is the one. Let's see if that's showing. I think that should be the one. Okay, let's see if that screen is showing. All right, here it goes. Basic training school here. I hope hopefully that's showing on your screen there. If so, I hope you can see the basic training screen of flight school series that we have there on the screen. Right,
Mr. Haynes.
Is there?
It's there.
Oh, good. Okay, Mark. I'll tell you what, man. This is one of my non-technical days. So anyway,
I'm here for you.
All right. So anyway, I want to get right into it. So here we go. Here's our basic training flight school series that I want to give you for this segment of our training. I believe this is going to be very key and pivotal, very key. I put it that way for many of you all to go out there and take and build a big business here. And so as we were going through and looking at some of the things, not only do you need to have the right mindset as you looking to build a big business, you definitely should have the right mindset, but you're going to have to go and take it a step further here as you go out and build your business. And I want to make sure as we do, and I may talk about some things that may be financially related or income related. We do have to make sure that we are upfront. You know, some people can take this information and they can grow a big business and grow a big income, but some people can look at this information and do absolutely nothing. And so we can't guarantee any incomes here, but we can say that if you do the work according to the plan that we have in the compensation plan within our company, the company will truly reward you for your efforts, and you get paid in direct proportion to the efforts that you put out. And so we like to be upfront with people here at our company. I believe the truth is good enough, you know, but some people are looking, they've been doing the work, but they just have been looking for the right environment in order for them to go out there and build a big business. And that's what we're looking for nowadays. Most people are looking for the freedom. I often say the lifestyle that they're looking for, and lifestyle is when you have time and money. You know, I keep saying as well, many people have a lot of time, but they don't have money. Okay? They have a lot of time, but no money. And I was in that situation before in my life, and I never wanted to, you know, I didn't want to continue that. I wanted to have the freedom. But I also knew a lot of people that had a lot of money, but they didn't have time to enjoy. And so there were things that they needed to do to bring that together, and where they can have the time and the money and build up a good quality of life. And our company has been able to show that system. Outside of the mindset is something that you need to do. And you hear this from time to time. It is saying your why. Your why. What is your why? Why are you doing whatever it is that you're doing right now? And the things that you're doing right now, are they producing the type of results that you truly want? Are they actually producing the type of results that you truly want and desire? And I didn't understand this in the beginning. I was a bit confused, and I was saying, what is a why? What do you mean a why? Nobody ever taught me what did they mean by the word why. And sometimes we get tied up into the lingo of our industry, and there's a brand new person coming into this industry is typically not properly explained some of the terms and things that we have that sound similar to your everyday life, but it may have a different meaning here in what it is that you're doing. And I know I had to get a thorough understanding of a why. And so they would ask me questions of, what are the things that, it's not, why is not just setting your goals or whatever, but why should drive you. Your why should be strong enough to drive you through the challenges and the obstacles that may come in your way. And best believe, when you're looking to do something great, it won't always be a smooth road to your success. It won't be a straight path from where you are to where you want to go. There are all kinds of obstacles that are going to come your way. And sometimes I say there are potholes in the curvy road of life. And so that means you're going to be going up the mountain. You're going to be making curves. You're going to be going through twists and turns. There are going to be all kinds of things and detours and all kinds of things that's going to happen to you in your career, on your road and your journey to true success and creating that lifestyle. But the key thing that will help you get there is knowing where it is that you want to go by creating your why. And so I had to have a why that was emotionally backed by my emotions, meaning that it was something tied to my reasons why that I wanted to go out there and accomplish those goals. There were major things that I had said, and one of the things I can tell you for me, and I had to find something. Sometimes you have to find a target, something that you can strive for and go for in life, and you give it your all. And in those big things is that I wasn't going to let my family see me fail. It was just something that I knew in my heart of hearts that I had to do. It wasn't any doubt about it, because for my family, my wife, my kids, they depended on me. My mother, had worked hard, and father had worked hard, and I wanted to do some things for them as well. And so I was emotionally tied to the reasons why I was building the business. See, I often ask people, do you have someone that you really care about or that you really love? Who is that person? Is that your brother, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, someone who raised you, or someone who poured into you, or whatever the case may be, your spouse, or whatever the case may be. And I would ask them, if their life depended on it, if they had to have a surgery, if they had to do something, don't want to wish anything bad, but just trying to give you an idea. But I had to find something. If their lives depended on you going out there to be successful in order for them to live, would you do the things necessary to keep them alive? And so I would look at it and I had to make the conditions in my mind. One of my favorite speakings and sayings is successful people create the conditions in their mind in order for them to become successful. I had to look at it and I asked people, I said, you know what? Just say a person had to, they were going to be on the street if you didn't take care of them, to cover the house, or they were going to, needed a surgery, a life, surviving surgery or whatever the case may be. If you had to go out there and build the business that we're in right now, if you had to go out and do something that we call the 2020 plan in the next 90 days, would you find 20 on your left and 20 on your right for them to survive, because you knew that would produce the type of results that you needed to keep that loved one alive? And I'm using that as an example, but that's the reality of creating a strong why. And I looked at it, and a lot of people come back and tell me, and they say, you know what, Ed? You know what? I love my mom. I love my dad. I love my daughter. I love my spouse. I love whoever it may be. And if that was the case, I guarantee you they would be here. And I said, you just told me you would be equivalent to a diamond. Just what I talked about, from just what I was explaining there. So the thing about it is, most people won't build this business for money. Most people won't build this business for money alone. There are going to have to be some reasons why that they build the business. That's why we often say, if your why is strong enough, the how doesn't matter. How you do it, we don't need to discuss. Because if the why is strong enough, if the reasons behind your actions are strong enough, then the how doesn't matter. See, we were looking at a case where they were talking about this lady, and you may have heard the story of a lady, small lady, but her child was trapped under a car for whatever reason that took place. Unfortunate incident, and this is a true story. And the mother, that small mother, maybe 125 pounds or so, not a big, strong, weightlifting person whatsoever. But that mother saw that their child was trapped under a car. And for some strange reason, I don't know the weight of it, I'm just giving you a size, but it wasn't a big size person or anything of that nature based on the story that I encountered. But that lady went there without even thinking about it. All she knew is she had to save her son. She lifted that car enough where her child was able to be removed from that car, from the bottom of that car. See, that's showing if the why is strong enough, the how doesn't matter. And there are many stories I can go on where some abnormal things took place and you don't know why. And that person went back and tried to lift that car again at that time after the incident and could not even budge the car because they gave it their all. There was something that was just the adrenaline, the mindset, everything. All they knew is, I have to save my son or daughter in this case. And so the things that I can tell you is this: you need to go in and drill down and find what is your why. Are you building it for your personal freedoms that you're looking to do? Are you building it to, like for me, I wanted to make sure that my kids didn't see me fail. It's all right to fail, but I failed forward. I wanted them to see me go through the process and succeed and never give up and never quit. And I had a why to make sure that I built the financial wall around them so strong that they never had to worry about poverty themselves. But they were going to learn the lessons of life. I wasn't going to cheat them on their process, but at least I would put them in. And my goal was to make sure that my kids, and that based on me, that they didn't start where I started from. They start where I left off. Your generation should get progressively get better. And so I was looking for myself, to come to a point where I can grow me and I can show from my example that this could be done and that you can do it too. And so your life should progressively get better from generation to generations. And those were things that were emotionally tied for me. I wanted my parents to see me succeed beyond what they had gone through and tried to do as entrepreneurs themselves and working jobs and things that they went through. I wanted them to be here, and I wanted to do it within a quick time fashion where they can at least reap the benefits of a lot of things that we were able to do. And I've been able to do some great things for my family. See, I look at, you know, the reason why I built it, because now it's not just extending from my immediate family, but I have friends and family that, because I had a strong enough why, and I was willing to go through the no's. And no matter who told me no, and how many times they told me no, my why was strong enough that the no's didn't matter. My why, I didn't like to speak in front of the rooms. My coach and mentor used to tease me and tell a story before he announced me, this guy wouldn't lead silent prayer in church. And that was true. I didn't like anyone to call on me and say, bow your head and be in front of the room. And no, I didn't want attention drawn to me whatsoever. And so I was that person. I didn't like to speak. But because of me having the desire to be better, in creating something strong enough in the reasons why that I would build this business, it allowed me to overcome the challenges that stopped me from moving along, that would stop me from moving along. And I'm telling you right now, if you would just simply take some time and actually go through that process and find out the reason why that you're actually doing the business, that will actually do more for you than you having to learn how to do some of the technical things that we talk about. When I had a strong enough why, it was easy for me to learn how to shake a hand and go meet people and start a conversation with them. Because I knew starting the conversation, I would go through the numbers. And I remember I was afraid for someone to tell me no, but I would go through the numbers because I knew I had to find some people that had good sense enough to see the opportunity. And I went through that process over and over and over again. And I was bad at it. I was horrible at it. Then I got a little better. But it still wasn't as good as some people who were natural at it. I wasn't a natural person at just meeting people because I was a very private person. An introvert is what most people call it. But that why was so strong that I was willing to go out there and meet people and start conversations with them. I was willing to go out there and show the plan and share the services of the product that I had. And I was willing to go through that process. And see, those were the how. That's how I was going to get there. See, that's the technical stuff. But the reason behind it drove me straight through the no's until I found the yeses. What have you put together in terms of your why that will now put you in a position where no matter what it took, how long it took, you were willing to go through that process to make it happen? I want you to take some time right now and just get a sheet of paper or get your smartphones out right now. Let's just do an exercise with me right now. If you're taking the time to do this, to get on this call, and again, I welcome everybody that's joining us here and on this particular recording. I just want you to take some time and go through the process of making a list of the reasons why you're building this business. Let's take some time. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to go through this process. Give you 30 seconds or so. You know, who are you building the business for? Jot it down. Are you building it for yourself? You can have multiple reasons why. One of the things that you're going to be emotionally tied to in order for you to accomplish your goal. It may not be as easy for some of you all right now to do this, but it is very important for you to do it. What will the outcome look like for you to go through the process and build the business to the level that you're choosing to build it? What would that outcome look like? You also may need to write down some reasons why you're not building it. So you can go on and look and see both sides. What's holding me back? But most importantly, I want you to look at what are the reasons that that's gonna, no matter what, come heck or high water sometimes is what we say, I'm gonna go through the process and build it big. Just jot them down. Put it in the chat. Just go on and get those things out right now. What are those things that are your reasons why to go out there and build a business? Some people may say, I already have all the money I want, but man, I don't have the time that I want. If I could just get more time and still have the same quality of lifestyle. See, that's on the high end. This business speaks to all people. But then it depends on what it is that you're looking to accomplish. And so my reasons why changed as I went through my career. And the reasons I'm building it now has changed. I was doing it for the kids and my spouse and all the things at that time and just some other personal benefits at that time. But now I'm searching for significance. How many other people I can get to be at this type of lifestyle that I've been able to experience from this business? And I put those down. And it's something that I get up. I don't have to have any alarm clock or anything pushing me because I'm still fighting every day. See, I give you another thing here, and I'm stepping it up because there are different levels to life. We call it the peak to peak principle. Something I learned a long time ago, because it's like climbing a mountain. When you're climbing a mountain and you get to a peak, and I've never climbed one, but I understand how that works. But I've gone on to the Great Wall of China, for an example. And as I was walking up those steps on the Great Wall of China, man, it was tough. But we finally got up there, and I got to a certain point, a viewpoint. I'm like, whoa, man, we finally made it to this point. And I look up, there was a whole nother point that we had to climb steps on. Then I go up there and get to that point, and we were going up to that point, got to the next point, and like, whoa, there's another level to this thing. And I looked at it and I said, you know what? What is my why now? I look at, I'll go out to tell you, it's for me, it may be different for people, but it's my parents, for an example. Just give me the thing that it changed for me. My family was exposed when my mother worked at a large company, finally maneuvered and worked herself up to a higher position in that company. And we had a chance to be a part of that company and get on their plane. Some people heard our story about that. And there was exposure from coming from nothing to being able to work through that process. And then we would had a chance to travel a few times on their private plane. What did that do to a young kid like me? Man, just like I used to say I had Hot Wheel cars when I was a kid, and I used to play with them all the time, and I was conditioning my mind at that time. I didn't know that principle, but I was conditioning my mind at that time. And when I came up and I began to have enough money and responsibly went out and were able to get some of the toys that I wanted, I was able to live out that life because my mindset carried me there. The same thing that happened with the airplane example. It did something to me because I was younger, much younger then, coming up, and I was able to experience that. And that was their plane. And now, yes, I can go and do something about getting a plane and in good position to do that. But you know what I said? While my family is still alive and and everything. I want them to experience riding on the Haynes plane. Have our name on the side of it. You know, I want to build something where it's responsible when we can responsibly go out there and do that, that I can now go out there and take them for a ride on their own plane, and we don't have to get pat down. See, that why, that changed. I didn't have a why like that in the beginning. But see, I have a why like that now. And even at the level of success that I've experienced, that where I am right now, and I'm thankful for it, coming from where we were to where we are, there are different levels of having that why. And so I'm telling you, it is very important that you go through this process to be able to experience the reasons why that you're building a business. You have to go through that process. I exercise this every day. And I'm hoping that you take some time to do this for yourself. Take some time and finish your list of the reasons why you're going to build a business. It will take you further along than any training that we can ever do. Because as I said before, when the why is strong enough, the how doesn't matter. Okay? So now, here's some other things that I want you to do. It's a process that you do to prepare yourself. You have to be organized to go out and build a business. You have to be organized to go build a business. And I wanted to make sure that I was organized in the way that I approached the business. That is the difference between an amateur and a professional. You know, we say amateurs join businesses, successful people launch businesses. We get them off the ground with a huge boost of power and momentum so we can grow a major business. And I'm going to show you all how to take it from just joining the business to launching the business. And there are some steps that you need to have and put in place in order to do that. Okay? The first step that I did was I decided and I learned to do is to go on and build myself a list. In this case, you probably want to build a list of potential prospects and potential customers. Your customers don't have to be your prospects. Your customers only utilize your product, they utilize your services that you may be offering, but your list of people that you're going to have for prospects are people that you're going to actually do an exposure to at some point in time to expose the business to them. You should always have a list of people going through what we call a pipeline, meaning that they're going through some point of exposure. From the first exposure to the second exposure, hopefully getting started to the third exposure if they need more information. And you just keep them going through the process. Because what we know, sometimes in sales period, the sales cycle, the business cycle, or whatever you want to say of exposure, and sometimes when you look at insurance, real estate, you can look at various services, people who look at your opportunity for the first time, everybody don't join the first time. Sometimes they don't actually make a move to buy into whatever it is that you offer until after the fifth to sixth time. Sometimes you have to follow up. But the first thing is first. That first thing is to build a list. And that way now you can have some organization to what you do. One thing I do know, the fortune is already in your pocket or in your purse. The fortune is already in your pocket. And sometimes we keep our cell phones in our pocket. And I said, you know what, perfect example. You have it right there in your hand. What I have right now is my cell phone in my hand. It's worth millions and millions of dollars because this information that I've captured in my phone, in terms of my phone book, I have high quality people in here. And quite honestly, even myself, I haven't gone through everybody in my phone yet. the business has been growing so fast. Sometimes when you find the right, and this is also called being a responsible sponsor. I just don't throw mud against the wall and see what sticks. I'm very careful with that. Now, sometimes you may have to go on and do it until you get it right, and you're going to mess some people up, and it's okay to mess some people up. I'm going to give you permission to mess some people up. What do I mean by that? Your approach in the beginning may not be as polished as some of the key people that you know. Your approach, and that's all right. And if they say no, you get a chance to say something like this. You know what? I was just practicing on you anyway. I'm gonna go to the next person, and whatever makes you feel good. And I've done that a couple of times, because they say no and they say it pretty tough. And I just said, you know what? I was just practicing on you anyway. So let me get back to you. And I went on to the next person and learned from that interaction. And it was done tactfully. So the fortune is already in your pocket or in your purse. That means that's your cell phone in this example. One of the other things that I would like for you to do as you write down that list, I want you to also do some things, and I'm gonna give you some pointers on that and following our 4-checker system. I'm gonna break it all down for you because I want you to be able to take the information that I'm giving you and be able to really systematize yourself where you can go out there and be as productive as possible. These are things that I live every day. These are things that I've gone through over the years they have created major success from a personal standpoint and from a duplication standpoint. I'm going to give you something that's called our 4-checker system. 4-checker system. Check, like a check mark. These are what you're going to check off. The first one of our 4-checker system is this person on my list coachable, teachable, and trainable? Are they coachable, teachable, and trainable? You don't negotiate on that. I don't want anybody who's not coachable, teachable, or trainable. That's just, that's really an anchor in your sail. You don't want anchors in your sail. You want wings beneath your wing, wind beneath your wing. So I'm looking for not anchors, but people who are willing, if they're on the boat with you, they're willing to paddle with you. They're willing to help push forward with you. You're looking for those type of people, not people that you have to sell them their dreams, that you have to push them to really create a why. They should already have a why, a reason why, like we talked about earlier. They should already have the right mindset of becoming successful or utilizing your platform or whatever it is that you're offering to actually go out there and grow themselves in big business. It should be more about them. They should be doing you a favor. You're not looking for people to do you a favor. They're not looking at the business to be kind to you. They should be thanking you for what you're offering. One of the biggest things that I wish we have time, we'll talk about this here in part of this series, but you need to talk about having the right posture. Talking about building value and taking it away. See, I learned when I presented my opportunity, I was building the value and I would take it away. But I was looking for the right people, and the ones that I talked to first, they met the 4-checker system that I'm going to talk about here today. And the first one is, are they coachable, trainable, and teachable? Okay. Number 2, are they a self-starter? Are these people really willing to go out and they're calling you instead of you chasing them? You want somebody that's texting or sending a message or whatever it is that they need to do to actually get with you and say, listen, I am ready. I have my list together. I've categorized my list. I'm ready to set up my first good party, a boom party. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to set up my first private meeting. I'm ready to do what I have to do. I'm ready to invite to the conference calls. I'm ready to invite to the video conference calls. I'm ready. Tell me, what do I need to do? that's somebody that's been a self-starter. And if you work the 4-checker system right, and you've worked the system right, the system will do the heavy lifting for you. That's why we call it a system. We typically say that it stands for, system stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. And I want to help you, as I said, systematize your efforts so you can maximize the benefits of what's taking place. And so, are they a self-starter? Do you have to really push them to come to the training, something that they need? Do you have to really push them to get on the call, something that they need? And you have to be honest with yourself. I decided to be honest with myself as I was dealing with people, because in the beginning, I was so glad just to sponsor someone that, you know, it was just me overly excited early on in my career. And then I had to realize, no, this is more for them than it is for me. I didn't look at people like they had a dollar sign after a while. In the beginning, I did. I didn't know any better. I was just glad to get the sign-up bonus. But now, don't look at people as just a sign-up bonus. When you first sponsor a person, that is just getting them in. The beginning is moving them along. There's something that we have called get them in, keep them in, and move them along. But I'm looking for the right people to move along, and they have to be self-starters. Okay? They have to be self-starters. Do they have influence? Do they have influence? Meaning that, do they have the ability to call others, and they will be willing to listen to them in order to get the information, and you put those people in the pipeline of exposure? Do they have the influence that maybe if they call the person, just based on their name alone, people are ready to get started because they believe in them? Have an influence, and then this is where I come in, from building a real strong networking business. My philosophy is, don't get the sheep, get the shepherd. Don't get the sheep, get the shepherd. What do I mean by that? See, a shepherd tends to the sheep, and the sheep knows the voice of the shepherd. And they typically follow the shepherd. If you know anything about how that works or whatever, I understand that that's how that works. And that means the shepherd has the influence. A lot of times we spend more time chasing the sheep than we do finding the shepherds. The shepherds are coachable, teachable, trainable. They're self-starters. And they have the influence over the group that they typically are involved with. And so I got good, and I made myself even better. My why drove me enough to grow enough in order for me to attract the right quality people. It wasn't easy for me to go through the process of explaining this stuff and all the things that I'm going through, because I hadn't gone through it before. But I kept going, I kept bumping my head, I kept going through the process. I stayed within the system. They used to call me Mr. Fundamental, and I'm still that person. I'm still Mr. Fundamental. I don't try to be fancy, because the principle-based teaching that we're giving you right now is what works. It's what's duplicatable. Some people say, you know what, I've been doing it a long time and I've heard the same thing over and over again. You know what, the reason why you hear it is because it works. It absolutely works. And why change it if it works? Another famous saying, a favorite saying of mine is, successful people get good at things that are boring. Sometimes it may get boring to you because you've heard it 20,000 times. You worked it 100,000 times. You've done it all the time. You kept doing it. But you know what? It gets better to me the more I do it. It gets better. The more I do this and follow this guideline, the more I do it, the better I get. I'm always searching to get better. And I look for these things, these principles are non-negotiable. And I can tell you the first three that I just talked about in the 4-checker system for me are non-negotiable. I don't negotiate on whether a person is coachable, teachable, or trainable. I don't negotiate whether a person is a self-starter. I don't negotiate, and they have to have some influence, and nobody's going to follow them, and no one's going to listen to them. It could be a more difficult road. It may take a little bit more development for that person in order for them to build up where people will follow them, and that's okay. I was that person. I probably would have been voted most likely to not succeed when I first started this industry. I had some success in other places. I had a little bit of following, but for the most part, things had gone bad. And, when you have hard times, people don't tend to want to listen to you. Sometimes you have to go out there and prove yourself. Not that not take that back. Sometimes you just go out there and have to keep growing. And then in the process of growing, you end up proving yourself. But I had to keep moving forward, and eventually things began to happen for me because I was willing to go through the process. And I want you to be willing to go through the process. The other part of it is, the fourth one is, do they have the financial ability to get started? Do they have the financial ability to get started? At some point in the program, what part can they get started with? It's amazing that in many cases in our great industry, many people will find more value in buying an expensive cell phone than they do getting started in an opportunity with a low cost, but with high income potential. And some people are not willing to be exposed with who they really are. One thing I can tell you about our industry of direct sales and network marketing is that this industry would expose who you really are. You can't hide behind a big desk, a big chair, and put 2 little chairs in the front and call yourself a leader here. You're gonna have to develop some skills there. I've met some people that I first saw them, and they look good and they smell good and they talk big, but they couldn't lead themselves out of a wet paper bag at the time. And I'm not knocking and beating up on people, but sometimes you're gonna meet people who introduce themselves and they only introduce their representative. They only introduce a representative. And that's why I'm not so shaken. I get people saying, this guy or this lady, they're so big and they this and they this. And I say, okay, good. Let me see. And I'll sit back and listen. But you always remember, if you heard me train before, I say successful people dominate the listening. Unsuccessful people dominate the talking. I ask some of the questions and I ask them about themselves and I get them to talking and I can see things contradicting over time and they're giving me all the information that I need in order for me to give them the answer based on the program I have. And that's because I have some systems in place that we're going to teach you over a period of time. You're going to be able to get it because remember, we're creating the right environment for you to win. We are absolutely creating the right environment for you to win. And so these are the 4, this is the 4-checker system. Are they coachable, teachable, and trainable? That's 1. Are they a self-starter? Are they willing to go out there and do the work even without you having to push them toward their own goals and success? Do they have influence? Remember, it's always best to get the shepherd and not chase the sheep. And also, do they have the financial ability to get started? Now that one is, I put my 4 checkers there, but sometimes finances could be just an issue, a temporary challenge. Because when I got started in the industry, and I know many people who have probably been in my situation, they were willing to be coached. They were self-starters. they may have had a little bit of influence, but times that they just maybe falling on hard time and they had to go and find the money. They at least need to be willing to find the money. So financial ability to get started wasn't the most important, but it was important. And so you make sure you go and put that list together and you look for the 4 checkers first. Because those people, what I found out is this: the people that you think who will do it, they probably won't. And the people you think who won't do it, they probably will. And that was very important, but I went through the 4 checkers first. And so here's some of the steps that I want to give you to go by. I'm setting you up to win. We're going to set you up to win so big, you won't even have to think about your success. You just need to do the right activity. And we're going to set you up also where you don't confuse activity with accomplishments. Some people think because they're so busy doing all of these different things that they're accomplishing something. No, the result will be in the printout based on the steps that we're going to give you here. Here's some steps that I want you to follow. Number 1, make a list, but don't prejudge. Make a list, but don't prejudge. What do I mean by prejudge? Prejudging is, oh, like I just said, oh, I think she'll do it, or I think he'll do it, or he'll be good, or she'll be good for this. Oh, they need this and that. No, that's not your job. Take that cell phone, go from A to Z, jot the names down, and some of you all are going to realize that some people need to be taken out of your phone anyway. It's dead weight. Your phone is probably going to get lighter. Your pocket is going to get lighter from putting it in there. Your purse, ladies, will be lighter because you're going to get rid of some of the dead weight that's in there, people that have no business being in your phone whatsoever. And you put their name down. Don't prejudge, because you will be so surprised at who's looking for an opportunity right now. You will be so surprised that who want to have more control of their life, who want to have more lifestyle. You'll be so surprised. You'll be so surprised that people that you thought didn't have the money or didn't have the wherewithal to get started, that they were so hungry, they were just looking for somebody to come along. And if you would have just given them a call, but because you prejudged, you missed them. You'd be so surprised at the person that was already, you thought was very wealthy, and they may very well be wealthy, and it's okay. Because what we're doing in our environment is attracting all kinds of people, but you may be thinking, I don't think he or she need it. You'll be surprised at some of the people that I talk to every day who already have it, but that's why they have it, because they see the moment and they seize the moment when they see it. So I don't prejudge. I just expose. Your job is not to make a judgment for them or make a decision for them. Your job is simply to go through the process, put them through the pipeline, do your 4-checker system, call the strongest ones first that meet your criteria of the 4-checker system, and then go through the process of exposure. So make that list, don't prejudge, categorize the list. This is something that I tell a person to do as well. Put name, phone number, and occupation down. You need to do this for yourself. And sometimes you have this for your coach, because your coach, based on their experience as well, they will know based on who they are and what they do, how you need to expose them to the opportunity. Some people may need, the reason why you categorize the list and you put name, phone number, and occupation there, and you go and do your 4-checker system, you want to have your information already in order. And you also want to be able to go on and decide how you're going to do your method of exposure. So that's the next step. But when you go through that process of putting that there, I realized that it matters how and where you expose certain people. Certain people need to have maybe a one-on-one conversation, or private Zoom, just one-on-one. I had several of those where it was just one, no more than 5 or 6 people, and we just have a conversation and just kind of talk it out. And it's an informal presentation. They get it. It's a different way that you do it because I know I have to speak their language. Sometimes you can put a person in a small group setting. And sometimes it's okay to put people in a larger room settings when we have the larger events. But the money is being made for the most part, and you build your business from one-on-ones and one-on-ones, that means to small groups, and from small groups to big groups. I built my money and made the most money. We have built our money and made the most money from starting off face-to-face, belly to belly, small rooms, meeting rooms, living rooms and dens. The money is in the living, or it will be in the living rooms and dens still today. Small group settings, because I'm looking for the shepherds and not chasing the sheep. And then we would roll those meetings into the next larger group meeting, and then to the big team meeting. And it just went on over and over, and I kept repeating and doing that process over and over. But I made sure that I went through and had the list categorized, and I knew exactly how I would expose it to them. So the next one is decide the method of exposure. Are you going to, what version of technology are you going to use your pre-recorded presentation, your I Decide presentation? Yeah, you can send that out. Once you set it up properly, tell them you're going to send some information. And we're going to do an invite training, but you can decide before you even approach them a couple of different ways of exposure. So when you're talking to them, you already have a game plan of where you're going to invite them and how you're going to invite them. So decide the method of exposure. Will it be one-on-one? Will it be a small group setting? Will it be a Zoom or video conference or telephone conference or open meeting? Whatever it's going to be, you already have that decision made based on you categorizing the list. The next thing is get mentally prepared to go through the process. You have to know your averages. And one of the things I can tell you is this. I knew my averages. I knew my averages. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll give you an analogy of this. We talk about a baseball player. And I'm not just the biggest person when it comes to sports, but I understand a few things. I know if you swing 10 times as a professional player and you miss 7 times out of 10, if you can hit 2 to 3 times out of 10, you're $1 million player. The averages are such that if you can only connect 20 to 30% of the time, you're a big time player. And it is very rare, even with a person of influence, that everybody they talk to gets started. And so I had to be prepared mentally. That's just the law of averages. I was the player that got 1 out of 10, maybe 1 out of 10, maybe a half out of 10. But I knew I can win if I went through the numbers. Jim Rohn used to talk about, I know how to beat people who are better than me. And I would think, how do you do it? And he would say, Jim Rohn is he's gone on now, but he was one of the best motivational speakers out there in the world. And he said, if a person can get 10 out of 10, I can beat him. I'm like, how in the world can he do that? He said, well, what I'll do, if I was getting 1 out of 10, they were getting 10 out of 10, I would talk to 110 people and I would get 11. They got 10, I got 11, I beat them. See, what you make up in skill, you make up in number. What you lack in skill, you make up in number. And so I was the one that had to go. I'm telling you, it still works if you're not the one who can get 9 or 10 out of 10. If you were only able to bat the average like I was able to do, I'm just giving you some hope here. Okay, I can speak from experience. Some of you all are already ahead of me that you can get 2, 3, 4 out of 10. Great. You're ahead. That's great. But do better. Don't let a good life spoil a great life. But I had to get mentally prepared that I may have to go through more people and go through more no's to find the right yeses. And I was willing to do that because number one, I had the right why. I had the why that was ahead of me. I had a reason to push through no matter what took place. It was in my heart of hearts that I was going to win. I knew I had the right vehicle. I knew I was with the right people. Now, and I had the right services and products and all that stuff. I had all of that. But what made the difference between me and everyone else is that I had an emotionally driven why and I was mentally prepared to not do everything within my power, but to do what was necessary in order for me to accomplish my why. See, this is the real talk that you need right here. Some people come and say, can you give me 1 or 2 messages or words or something that'll push me along? And I said, I can't give you one thing. There were multiple things. They were simple things, but there were multiple things. But the biggest thing of them all, the biggest one of them all is to drive me. It was to drive me with the right why. When I didn't have the right full skill to go do it, the why drove me enough to become a much better person in order for me to accomplish my goals. And I was willing to go through a no because I knew mentally that I had to go through those no's, but I knew when I get to the yeses, but the no's never killed me. I'm still here today. My goal was to go through more no's than anyone. Your goal should right now you know what? I'm gonna make it a fun day. How many no's can I get right now? How many people can I get on a call right now if there was a call? And I just want to see, let me do a study. Just go through the process and watch your numbers. And okay, I put 10 people on there. 5 said no, 2 said maybe, and 3 said yes. Whatever the number may be. At least you know. But I was willing and understood that everybody wouldn't have the dreams and goals. No one taught me why to have a vision, to be a visionary. No one taught me back in the day to have the right why. And you got to remember, what we're teaching you right now, they don't teach in school. This is wealth training. This is eagle training. This is not chicken school. This is wealth building school. This is where in many cases, only the people who are strong enough to carry out their whys will go through. And you don't have to be the strongest person. You just have to be the person that's willing to do what's necessary person to make this happen. And so get mentally prepared. And the last but not least in this step is to take massive action. You have to go for your goals like you've never gone before. Once you've gotten yourself organized and you've done all the things that I've talked about, you made your list, you didn't prejudge. You categorized your list, you did the 4-checker system. You decided the method of exposure. So when you got on the phone and you did your inviter, when you met a person, you knew exactly, I know how I'm gonna invite, Mr. Holton Buggs to this meeting. Or any person for that. I know exactly, okay, I know the type of person he is, I kind of got an idea. I maybe put a game plan together with my plugged in upline, and we know, hey, these are some options for him or her based on who they are and what you've explained to me. And you have to be prepared. And you have to also be prepared that a person may feel that their plate is too full and they may tell you no, but in many cases, no don't mean no, it means not right now. And you got to know how to also put some things in place. I'm gonna give you another side tip. Sometimes when a person say no, that may mean no right now. And you may be able to ask them and say, you know what? Do you mind if I keep you abreast of the success of where we're going, just in case some things change, you can still participate and benefit from what we're building. And now you have permission. Maybe I'll send you something maybe once a month just to keep you updated, because things are going extremely well. And that way, if something happens to change or you find the right person, you can send them our way so they can benefit from what I'm showing you right now. I'm showing you some things that you can do. So no don't always have to mean no, it can mean not right now. But also, when you building the business and your why is strong enough, you can build something by taking massive action. And that massive action that you do can propel you to levels and peaks that you've never seen before. I didn't wait, I launched the business. I didn't join a business. And I want you to be able to go in and launch your business. Make a list right now. Start over like you're brand new. I'm gonna say, if you're brand new and hearing it for the first time, make a list of 50 to 100 people. Make a list right now, 50 to 100 people. Do this for your prospects and your customers. Do it for your prospects and your customers. Make a list of people so you can expose those people to the business. And follow the steps that I showed you how to do. I'm setting you up to win right now. I am setting you up so you can win for the long haul. Do it right, not now, but right now. Take some time, get organized, do the things that I've been talking about. So I'm giving you an assignment in order for you to go out there and win big here. And so I'm going to end it there with this topic. I believe you have what you need to actually go and have yourself set up. By developing that why and really personalizing that why and putting those reasons down, like I did. I had to go in and keep that why fresh, so I can go out there and keep going through it, because I get people that tell me no all the time. And I'm gonna tell you, you never get so good that people won't tell you no or won't join you right away. It's just part of the territory. You just accept it. That's where the right mindset comes in. But again, when the why is strong enough, the how doesn't matter. And then on top of that, get organized. Put that list together like I talked about and all the things that we've said. And that way you can go through the process and properly expose the right people. So you can go through some of the no's that you may have to go through, and you can find the right yeses. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna end this segment of the training. Hopefully you found some value in what I said. Do your homework, because the next segment that you're gonna hear from our series here of our basic training is how to properly invite. How to properly invite. We're gonna teach you from taking that list and now going out there to teach some people, to expose some people of what they need to do in order to see the opportunity that we're gonna share with you all here. So hopefully, again, that you enjoyed the series here. We're looking forward to a full packed out week. You guys are absolutely incredible. And as we always say, we'll see you guys at the top, and boom. Bye for now. I'm Edwin Haynes, Houston, Texas. You guys are absolutely incredible.